EGM Network.
Good morning. Welcome to Silver Lining. My name is Raul Perez. I'm one of your hosts. Unfortunately, today, Janine Barros is not here with us, so I'm going to try to fill her shoes and get the show rolling. I have the honor of sitting here with Jim Hart from Space Coast Honor Flights. He's going to be our guest today. Can you please introduce yourself, sir?
Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you for having us. I'm the president of Space Coast Honor Flight, and Space Coast Honor Flight is one of 124 hubs across the United States that take veterans up to Washington, D.C. to visit their memorials. We started with World War II veterans. We still have a few of them around, but we've moved into Korea and Vietnam and even post-Vietnam veterans.
I think it's a great thing that you do, and you gave a presentation before, which I had the privilege of seeing, and it really opened my eyes to something that I didn't even know was available to some veterans. And you shared some of your stories, and some of theirs, and right. how it impacted them. So can you tell me a little bit about your, how you came to be a part of this organization?
Yeah, I'm a retired military officer. I left the military as a rear admiral back in 2008, and my wife and I, after some other things that I did for the government, I retired. And we moved to Vero Beach, and I was looking for something to get involved with, as a volunteer, and I was actually up in Fellsmere speaking at a breakfast when I was introduced to the then president of Space Coast Honor Flight. And he invited me to come to one of the meetings. I looked at it. I thought this was a great organization with a wonderful mission. So I volunteered. I started off as a guardian, going with a veteran on a flight. Then I became a board member, and I did what they call a veteran coordinator. I basically contacted the veterans that had applied and got them signed up for flights. And then eventually in 2019, I became the president.
Okay. And are you still the acting president?
I am.
Okay, great. Yeah. So how, you mentioned there being a board. How many people are involved?
I have a board of about 17. We're all volunteers. This is a 501c3, nonprofit organization. I also have probably 50 to 75 volunteers that come to our events, help us set up, take care of the veterans, and that kind of thing. We do an orientation for the veterans so they understand the flight we're going to go on. Part of that is going to different stations. Like we have one where we take a picture of them. We have another one where we hand out a backpack, jackets, hats, stuff like that. And then they go. The last station is to go see the doctor. And we do just a short interview to make sure we understand what their needs might be.
Okay. And I guess how does someone become involved in going on this trip with you?
Okay. So if you're a veteran, you can go to our website and download a application. We also have lots and lots of events like the one I did for you at Silver Linings. We do those all over Brevard and Indian River County, and we carry applications with us. I have applications today, so if somebody wanted to go, I could hand them an application. They fill it out, mail it in to us. And then they go on a waiting list. We have probably just under 400 veterans on the list right now.
Wow.
But don't be discouraged by that because of the number of vets we take, I could tell you if you applied today, you would go within a year to 18 months.
Okay. And how, when you go on this trip, how many veterans actually are able to go on?
We take 50 veterans. Each one has a guardian, a buddy, battle buddy, if you like, and So, and then I have 12 staff. Staff is made up of my board members, basically. And so that number is 112 that goes on the flight. That fits exactly on 2 tour buses. Each of those tour buses have 56 seats.
Gotcha.
So that's the limitation there, and it works out real well.
Okay, and you take 50 veterans each trip. How many trips roughly do a year?
Lately, we've been doing 5 a year. We started off doing 7 because we had so many World War II vets. We've cut back to 5, but we take 50. We're in a few. When we first started, we took 25.
Okay.
So now, I think this is a pretty good mix.
And you mentioned a guardian accompanies these veterans. Is there any requirement for these guardians?
They have to be in good health. They have to be able to push a veteran in a wheelchair all day if needed.
Got it.
Most of our veterans are pretty healthy, but we do have some that are frail. And like on the last flight on the 13th, I had a gentleman that we had to use the lift on the back of the bus to get him in and out. You know, he was in a wheelchair.
Gotcha.
So that veteran, that guardian has to be able to handle him all day long in a wheelchair. So that's what we're looking for.
Okay. So you mentioned that there was an orientation when it came to getting the veterans and getting them to understand what it's all going to be like. Is that the first step in the process of getting on to go to the memorials? Yes.
After the application, they'll get contacted, and we'll assign them to a flight. Actually, we let them pick what flight they want to go on, because we have enough veterans we can do that. So then we'll have an orientation where we bring them out, explain the flight to them. We also ask all of the guardians to come, and we have about 20 to 30 minutes of guardian training, just making sure they understand their responsibilities. Then we match the guardians and the veterans together, and we take them through a little orientation, if you will.
And that orientation, does that happen maybe 1 month before the flight?
Well,
or
it varies depending on the holidays and stuff. Like on the one on the 13th of June, we actually did the orientation the Sunday before on the 7th.
Okay.
That works out. Sometimes we do it 2 weeks. If we have a holiday in there, maybe it's 3. But that's about as far out as we would like to go.
Okay. And how does your typical flight day look like for these veterans?
Okay, they show up at 4:00 in the morning. We fly out of Melbourne Airport, and Melbourne is a great partner. They really help us with all kinds of things. They take one of their international baggage areas, and it's transformed into chairs and tables, red, white, and blue. You know, all those kinds of things at the airport. So they meet us at the airport. We do what we call a send-off ceremony.
Okay.
We have a color guard. We do the national anthem. We have a preacher that does an invocation. And then we start the ceremony. I basically take them through a script that covers what we're going to do. I talk about the statistics,
right?
How many the vets, where they come from, what services were they in, all those kinds of things. Then I have community leaders, the airport director, Congressman Herodopoulos, senior military leaders from the Air Force, Space Force, and the Navy. We have a Naval Ordnance Test Unit up at Cape Canaveral. Leadership there comes down, and they talk to the vets for a little while.
Okay.
Then we form up. We go right to the gate. We hand them a bag of breakfast.
Okay.
And get on the plane, and we're off to Washington D.C.
Okay. And roughly when you are in Washington D.C., what's kind of the process and where you all go and what do you do?
Yeah. Well, the memorials are divided up between Washington, D.C. and Virginia. So
okay.
Normally, we'll have a welcome ceremony, little welcome at the BWI airport. We'll get on the 2 buses and we'll go down into Washington. We'll actually cross over into Virginia. And like for the 13th of June, we did U.S. Air Force Memorial.
Okay.
We did the 9/11 Pentagon Memorial. We then went to Arlington Cemetery. We watched the changing of the guard at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. We watched the wreath laying at the tomb. Then we went to Iwo Jima. Okay. So that's all on the Virginia side.
Wow.
Then we went back. Then we came back. When we come back into Washington D.C., we go first to World War II. We all get off the buses. We go down. We get a group picture at World War II, and then we spend about 2 hours there. They can visit World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, and we end up at Korea, and we get back on the buses, and then we come home. We go back to BWI. We use a charter airplane for the Legion Airlines, so we're the only ones on the airplane.
Gotcha.
And
before you keep going, we got to take a small commercial break.
Okay.
And when we come back, we'll continue from there. Okay.
Fine. Okay. Great.
Finding the right home loan should feel like the last piece of a puzzle. Here in Vero, one name stands out for experience you can trust. Gina Melton at Riverside Mortgage Solutions.
With over 16 years of local expertise, I'm not just a loan originator, I'm your neighbor. Don't settle for an out-of-town lender. Talk to me at 772-205-8880. Call me, Gina Melton, with Riverside Mortgage Solutions.
Riverside Mortgage Solutions is an equal housing lender. NMLS 1712816 and NMLS 87788.
Are you a therapist or a nurse seeking the multi-state compact license? In the state of Florida, these and many other industries require a Level 2 live scan background check for clearance to work in your industry. A1A Fingerprints is your certified live scan source from Broward to Brevard. And if you're a medical provider, you need to be registered on the ACA web portal. A1A Fingerprints will help you navigate and comply with the law. Call 772-494-6556 or visit a1afingerprints.com. A1A Fingerprints.
Tired of pool chores draining your weekend? Deja Blue Pool Service provides the expert skimming and chemical balancing you need for a crystal clear paradise. For Vero's most reliable professional care, Google Deja Blue Pool Service. Keep it clean, keep it blue.
Welcome to Riverside Theater's Comedy Zone, where the comedy is wild, untamed, and downright hilarious. Hit the zone this Friday and Saturday night at 6:30 and 8:30 for the Treasure Coast's best live stand-up comedy show, featuring nationally recognized comedians with cabaret-style seating and food and drink table service. Buy tickets at riversidetheater.com and get ready for a night of non-stop laughs.
EverGreen Media is your go-to for podcasting. Business owners, boost your brand by educating clients with your own show. Just show up. We handle everything else. Get your custom video podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and more. Start today at egreenmedia.com.
Welcome back. Again, my name is Raul Perez, and I'm here with Jim Hart. I would like to go ahead and thank our sponsor, Dill Livins and Rotaback. They provide estate planning services, real estate services, and any other legal need roughly in that area. And they have been providing services for the past 30 years to the Space Coast and Indian River County. Jim, I wanted to go ahead and pick up where you left off. I think you were talking about the plane and how you have kind of concentrated that into getting just, pretty much all to yourself so that you can make this trip better for the veterans.
Yeah, the charter out of Melbourne is what makes the day for, because if we didn't, we used to go up to, we used to take buses to Orlando and fly on Southwest Airlines with the normal public.
Right.
But that's very time consuming, and it added about 4 hours to the day because of all the travel time with the buses and everything. So when we were able to make the move to Melbourne Airport with Allegiant, we were very happy to do that, and it did add a lot. It did add expense to the flight, but at the same time, we increased the number of veterans on the flight from 30 to 50. So we think that that was a good compromise.
Yeah, I think, and I mean, I think it helps because I think you basically added 4 hours to the trip, so you could get a little more done. The veterans could be at the memorial a little longer, so I think that was that was a good choice.
Yeah, one of the constraints is we do have a beautiful welcome home ceremony celebration, really, for the veterans. So we don't want to get back too late because the public doesn't want to be out that all hours of the night. So we really work hard to land at Melbourne at 9:30 in the evening.
Okay, and I was I had the chance to see one of your videos. Unfortunately, we can't play it here, but the video was amazing. And it goes through that welcome back home. Can you explain to the listeners, what that looks like?
For example, on 13 June, when we got back, Congressman Herodopoulos was at the gate, and he shook everybody's hand. He gave them a coin. Once we have everyone off the airplane, we align everybody up. On the 13th, we had 2 buglers, followed by a color guard that was made up of the American Legion and the airport police and TSA. Okay. So that's the beginning of it. We line. Anybody in a wheelchair goes next, then all the rest of the veterans are lined up behind them, and we go down into the actual terminal. And there's a walkway that goes from the gate all the way down into what they call the Welcome Center.
Right.
And along the way, there's crowds and crowds of people cheering and clapping and thanking the veterans. And we also have a number of distinct groups. I have the Space Coast Honor Guard. These are nurses that are dressed up in nurse uniforms that have all served in the military. They're there. I have the Pixie pinups. These girls, the ladies dressed like in the 1940s or something like that. On the 13th, we had some people from the Cocoa Playhouse. They're doing a 1776 play. So they were there to sing for the crowd, and they were there to also greet the veterans. We had the Patrick Honor Guard there that did a saber arch. So at the end of the walk, there's a saber arch, and all the veterans get to go through there and get their picture taken. And so and we had the Vieira High School kids. They showed up. There was I don't know how many, but there was a lot of high school kids there.
I think you mentioned that there was likely over 1,000 people.
Close to it, I think. Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. I mean, because I think you mentioned this before when I was present at the previous event of how impactful having this welcome back is to some of these veterans.
Yeah, most of these veterans, particularly those that served in Vietnam, weren't welcomed back at all. I mean, I've had veterans tell us at the reunion that they were spit on. People tried to fight with them as they got off the airplane. They were told back in the 60s, when you get off the airplane in San Francisco or wherever, first thing you do is go to the men's room and change out of your uniform.
That's unfortunate.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And I shared a note with you from a veteran that was on the 13 June flight, and he said when he got off the plane, his mother were there, and they were holding up a sign, "Welcome back." From Vietnam, and he went over to him and said, "Put that thing down." He said, "I know when I was operating in Cambodia that what happened at Kent State, and I didn't want anybody to know that I was a Vietnam veteran." Hopefully, flights like ours and groups like ours help to reverse that.
Right, and I mean, I was able to see I think in one of these videos you had someone videograph what it looks like from the veteran's perspective, just to see what all these people are lined up with signs and United States colors and the like you mentioned there was
our videographer does that. So after he's taken pictures at the gate, as we form up to walk through the airport, he goes ahead of us and films the crowd because it gets so chaotic. There's so many people that the veterans. They don't really get to see the whole thing. They only get to see wherever they are in the line.
Okay.
So we video that, and then at the reunion we play it to the veterans so they can actually see what the whole crowd looked like when when they came home.
Yeah, and I mean, I saw, like I mentioned, I saw this video. I mean, it almost looked like the line was over a mile long, just with how many people were there.
Well, we go pretty much the length of the terminal.
Yeah, I
so
mean,
it's amazing.
Right. And I think you mentioned, like, after you're done with the welcome home, there is a follow-up a few months later.
That's the reunion. And what we do there is we get together probably 4 to 6 weeks after the flight. That gives our photographers an opportunity to make what I call a coffee table book. It's pictures that capture the entire day. We make sure we give one of those to the veteran and one of them to the guardian. Okay, and I get an opportunity to speak, and then I turn the mic over to the vets and the guardians, and they get to talk about their experience and what they thought of it. So,
I mean, it sounds like overall something great, especially for veterans who maybe when they were coming back, like you mentioned, from Vietnam, they weren't honored.
right.
This gives them some of that, and you know, it gives them a chance. Maybe some of them haven't ever been to Washington D.C. or Virginia to see these memorials.
That's true. Yeah.
Is that often the case that most of them probably haven't?
It's about a half, I would say. But I mean, when you drive into Arlington Cemetery for the first time, it takes your breath away. I mean, there's 400,000 graves in that cemetery, that Arlington, and it's just amazing, you know, to see that, and then to go up and watch the changing of the guard at the tomb is impactful.
How is that experience? Because I think that you almost have like a little private showing of or up close and personal what that is.
What we do is we have our veterans sitting in the wheelchairs, and they're right up just a few feet away from where the actual ceremony takes place. So the public is over on the other side in like concrete bleachers, kind of
Right.
like, but our folks are down and very, very close to where this all takes place.
Great. I mean, and, you know, almost a VIP access to be able to see everything.
Right.
And I think you mentioned that you spend the first part of the day in Virginia, and then the rest of the time is in Washington D.C.
That's correct.
And at that point, the veterans, you know, have a chance to go out on their own and get to see whatever they want to see.
Yeah, we get off the bus at World War II, and we take a group photo, and then we tell them we're going to take a photo at Vietnam at this time and one at Korea at this time, and they're free. They get about 2 hours that they can spend at the memorial, so they can go and look around World War II, Korea, Vietnam. A lot of Vietnam veterans have friends or relatives that whose names are on the wall, and they'll go down there and they'll get a rubbing that they'll take. They have this paper that they'll put up against the name and use a graphic pencil to rub it, and they have something, you know, bring home.
Gotcha. So let me ask, how normally, I think you mentioned like the cost of what these trips are.
Yeah, it's expensive. It's one of these flights is roughly $85,000.
Okay.
So we are, as I said, a nonprofit organization. So we rely on and we're very grateful and thankful for the donations that we get. The flight on the 13th that we just did was sponsored by a veteran and his wife who he had gone on a flight with us in 2023, and he didn't pay $85,000, but he paid. What we do is we'll have shares. If you want to be a sponsor, you could be a sponsor for $20,000. And he donated $20,000.
Wow.
He and his wife for this flight. And you know, we have corporations, individuals, and you know, people that they respect the veterans, and they want to make sure that they can do this kind of thing. So that's how we manage. We live through donations.
Great. Well, if you want to learn more about this special organization, please go onto their website, spacecoasthonorflights.org. There you can get more information. Like you mentioned, the application is there for anybody who wants to apply.
Right.
And I would imagine that if people wanted to donate, they can get more information there as well.
You can donate through the website, or you can mail a check to the address that we have. We have a post office box in Rockledge. And a lot of people donate that way.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you again for your time.
Sure.
And it was a pleasure to have you on the show.
Well, thank you. Thank you for letting me come on and talk about honor flight.
All right. Thank you very much.